me. We're from the Attorney General's office. We need to ask you a few questions about an article you wrote. Inside Dream World.
Really? We're going to do this again. You people are unbelievable.
Excuse me?
I wouldn't give up my sources when you killed the article. So why would I give them up now?
Because it looks like one of your sources was murdered. Do you recognize him, Mr. Parker?
Bronson. He was murdered?
Yes, and now other people's lives are at stake. Now tell us everything you know about Dream World.
First time I heard about Dream World was in 03. Our story was once started serving Kandahar at the time. The story stuck with me, so about a year ago I started poking around. Found out it was a forward operating base in northern Afghanistan. Launching pads called in the region.
You both working at this.
I heard his name a couple of times, so I approached him.
What did he tell you?
Nothing at all. He freaked out. They knew he was stationed there. Asked me how much I knew about him. What he done. I told me. Whatever it was, he sure as hell didn't want to get out. Next thing I know, my editor's killing the story. At the personal request of Defense Secretary Reed.
The conversations that you had with Bronson, did he ever mention the word?
No, why was up?
Wait. The Secretary of Defense himself called to kill the story? That's unusual.
Try unheard of.
Welcome, everyone. It is Thursday, July 4th, 2024. I'm Bob Metz, and this is Just Right, broadcasting around the world and on air. Join us for an hour of discussion that's not right-wing. It's just right. The case of Julian Assange symbolizes how bankrupt the West has become. So says Salim Mansour, who joins us today to expand on that theme. That's where we're going to be going with our conversation today, Salim?
I hope so.
You hope so? Okay, well, we never know when we get together. But we will be getting started right after our reminder that you can write us at feedback@justrightmedia.org. Hear us on WBCQ and on Channel 292 Shortwave. Follow and like us on your favorite podcast platform. And visit us at justrightmedia.org, where you can access all of our social media links, archive broadcasts, and the support button that makes it easy for you to support the show. Because, as always, your financial support is appreciated and is what makes this show possible. Now, saying just in case there are those people out there listening who aren't familiar with Julian Assange, or they know what he is and they forgot or whatever, I just thought I'd do a very quick summary from Wikipedia, so take it for what it is, and I'm just going to read a couple paragraphs. And it says, Julian Paul Assange, born July 3rd, 1971, is an Australian editor, publisher, and activist who founded WikiLeaks in 2006. He came to international attention in 2010 after WikiLeaks published a series of leaks from Chelsea Manning, a former United States Army intelligence analyst, footage of a U.S. airstrike in Baghdad, U.S. military logs from the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, and U.S. diplomatic cables. Assange has won multiple awards for publishing and journalism. He was raised in several towns in Australia until his family settled to Melbourne in his mid-teens. He became involved in the hacker community and was convicted for hacking in 1996. Following the establishment of WikiLeaks, Assange was its editor when it published the Bank Julius Baer document, footage of the 2008 Tibetan unrest, and report on political killings in Kenya with the Sunday Times. Now, in June 2024, Assange agreed a plea deal with the American prosecutors. He pleaded guilty to an Espionage Act charge of conspiring to obtain and disclose classified U.S. national defense documents. Under the terms of the deal, U.S. prosecutors sought a sentence that allowed for his immediate release. He was ordered to instruct WikiLeaks to return or destroy unpublished documents and provide an affidavit. Following the hearing, Assange departed for Australia and arrived in Canberra on the 26th of June 2024. So that's a brief recap. I'm going to tell you, it's been my experience that the more I hear about Julian Assange, the less I feel like I know, especially from all the stories circulating, even in social media right now. And we have a number of audio bites today that would suggest that Assange is everything from a cow to a psyop or controlled opposition. And I always get a little bit nervous when the discussion is more focused on the messenger than on the message. I don't know if you feel the same about that, but of course the very fact that he's been released at all and the timing of his release do open themselves to speculation. What's your speculation on this?
Well, before I get into speculation, let's say it's a pleasure to be here with you. Bob, I don't know how long it's been that I haven't sat across your studio.
Yeah, we're here live together with each other right now.
That's right.
It's probably been about 2 years since we were in that situation.
2 years, huh?
Yeah.
So it's a pleasure to be here at this warm afternoon and talk a little about Julian Assange. Neither you nor I are, in that sense, looking into the biographical detail of Julian. We know him, and what we know of him is basically, again, from the media. That we all know, you know, I know, most of us know, that media spins narratives. Media doesn't report objective facts, you know. That means it creates a narrative and broadcasts it to shape the thinking and ideas and values of the people. So the media is a propaganda arm of the power that runs our society, the government. So whatever is filtered out through the media about Julian, a lot of it has to be filtered out to try to come to understanding what happened, not only with Julian Assange, but what is happening with our environment, the media environment. How is it that it is so polluted, you know, that most people with any degree of common sense and some understanding of their own past, their own society, their own history, no longer trust the mainstream media? Well, it is not a diversion. I'm not moving away from the purpose that we got together to speak about Julian, but Julian in terms about the media, about the politics, about where the West is, about the United States as the empire of lies. Everybody tuned in, on the mainstream media, tuned in towards the CNN debate of President Joe Biden and former President Donald J. Trump, you know. And from 2020 election onward, the media has covered in every possible way for Biden that there's nothing wrong with Biden, that Biden is fit, that Biden is okay, that Biden is handling America's domestic politics, foreign policy, etc. What did we see finally? Everybody said that Biden is just a walking shell of what T.S. Eliot called a long time ago, a man with straw filled in his head, right?
I remember you sitting here calling Biden as before the last election.
Right.
And you were wondering why they would even run him. So is that part of the bankruptcy of the West you're talking about?
First of all, what the media tells the common American, what the media tells the common Canadian, that what the media tells the people in the collective of who to love, who to hate, who to admire, who's the bad guy, etc., etc., right? So the media has a lot going in creating this narrative about Julian Assange, you know, that led to Julian Assange being put away for 14 years. A young man, when, you know, was relatively still a young man, born in 71. 14 years ago, he was barely getting into his 40s. He was in his, late months of his 30s. He was put away. You know, his children don't know him. He's got 2 boys and don't know him. His life was taken away from him. And what was it about? He was finally charged with the Espionage Act by the American government. And removed to Belmarsh Prison, the closest thing that the British have to a gulag, where he was put into solitary confinement for 23 hours in a 24-hour day, you know? So let's now backtrack. Let's unpack what happened. Yeah, what happened? You know, you just gave a glimpse of it from that Wikimedia snapshot.
Okay, let's do that right after this break.
Okay.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth. Apparently, I have a very unpopular opinion amongst those in the field of alternative media, and that is the fact that the intelligence asset, Julian Assange, has just completed his mission. I think just the fact that the alternative media has embraced and trusted WikiLeaks as a source was done by design. The best option is to control the opposition, to create the opposition and to place one of their men at the top of that so as to be able to steer the alternative media into a direction that will never expose any real conspiracies. For me, the red flags were going off left, right, and center when this guy, Julian Assange, in the very beginning, made the bold and emphatic claim that there is no conspiracy with 9/11. In fact, he said 9/11 truthers are stupid.
There are many that are also saying that he was not in prison so much as he was sitting in a countryside mansion at the home of Von Smith, and he is the owner of a news organization.